What kind of job do I want? What kind of job could I get? Do I really want to work? What if I can't get a job? These were all questions playing on my mind about 3 years ago. My name is Julia Morris and I'm an inspector in the Audit Quality Review team at the Financial Reporting Council, which essentially means I'm part of the team responsible for monitoring the audits of public interest entities. That's the FTSE 350 plus a few others. I'm going to talk for a few minutes today about the journey I went on to get to the role I'm in today and share with you how I overcame some of the obstacles that had stopped me returning back to work before. Looking back about 3 years, I think the analogy that best describes my work career situation is that I was on a lilo drifting out to sea with the workplace back at shore, and I was struggling to get back there, paddling really hard but making no progress. Yet I'd achieved so much. Why was I not getting back? I'd qualified with EY and I'd stayed there through to senior manager. I'd then changed direction and pursued a huge passion of mine, journalism, by moving to New York, where I managed to get a place on a hugely competitive master's program at NYU. I did a master's in journalism. And then I spent time working in TV and radio. But not long after, I'd had 2 kids, and all too quickly, this fabulous experience was slipping into the past. My lifeline really came in the form of a couple of CABA initiatives. The first thing I did was attend a number of their courses, which I think the main thing I got from those was that they made me realise that there were a lot of other people in a similar situation to me. And I think that kind of made it easier to deal with and inspired me to do something. But I think the absolute turning point for me was when I had some one-on-one career coaching through CABA. I still clearly remember that first session, as it really was transformational. For what seemed like a really long time, I literally poured out my career story to date. And then bit by bit, we went through and worked out what I liked, what I felt I was good at, and ultimately we came up with a plan of how I would find the kind of work I wanted. It really felt that for the first time in a long time I had a tangible action plan. The meeting was actually so effective that by the time we had our second one, I was already freelancing again in radio. And I probably would have stayed there had it not been for a friend who pointed out that the FRC were recruiting. At face value, it seemed like an unlikely fit to move back from journalism to finance. But on closer consideration, the skills I'd be using weren't actually that different. Discerning large quantities of information, dealing with senior individuals, and using communication skills, all on much more sociable hours. Equally for the FRC, I wasn't exactly their typical candidate. I'd been out of the profession for a number of years. And as a result, I had to work a lot harder to secure an interview. I had an informal meeting and a follow-up call. And those were really my 2 opportunities to make sure that I clearly articulated why I would add value to the group. And I think here again, I've got to give credit to my career coach, Karen, because I'd spent time with her working out how best to articulate my career story and point out the specific skills that I'd be bringing to the table. And I think that really played a huge part in getting me to that first interview. And I think from then on, it was actually easier. I had a second interview and 2 assessments, but I think getting that first interview was probably the hardest part. So I've now been in my role for about 18 months. I work 4 days a week. I have some extra unpaid leave over the summer to cover holidays. And there are still days that are tricky and they're stressful, and there are days that I challenge myself as to whether the decision I made was the right one. But overall, when I look at it on balance, it absolutely was the best decision for me. Thank you.